Rome Empire, how one city built and lost an empire. Rome did not fall because of one invasion, not because of one bad ruler, not because of one single moment in history. Rome fell because its greatest strengths, its unstoppable armies, its vast economy, and the sheer size of its empire slowly turned against it. What once made Rome powerful eventually made it impossible to hold together. To understand how the Roman Empire collapsed, we first have to understand how one city rose from obscurity to conquer the ancient world. If you're drawn to stories that reveal how history shaped the world we live in today, consider subscribing to the channel. Rome expanded quickly because it was structured for conflict and survival from its earliest days. Surrounded by rivals and lacking natural barriers, early Romans learned that security depended on constant military readiness. War was not an occasional crisis, it was a permanent condition. This mindset shaped Rome's institutions, values, and leadership. Geography played a critical role. Rome's position along the Tiber River provided access to trade routes while remaining far enough inland to avoid easy naval attack. Fertile land supported a growing population, and nearby hills offered defensible ground. These advantages allowed Rome to sustain armies year after year without collapse. What truly set Rome apart was how it treated defeat and victory. Conquered peoples were not always destroyed, many were absorbed. Rome extended partial citizenship, legal protection, and economic opportunity in exchange for military service and loyalty. Former enemies became soldiers, taxpayers, and stakeholders in Rome's success. Each conquest expanded Rome's manpower, resources, and influence. But as its territory grew, so did the challenge of control. Every victory strengthened Rome, while quietly laying the groundwork for future strain. The Roman Republic was designed to prevent any one man from ruling alone. Power was divided among magistrates, the Senate, and the people, with short terms meant to limit ambition. For centuries, this system worked, so long as Rome remained a city-state fighting local wars. Success changed everything. Expansion poured vast wealth into Rome, along with enslaved labor taken from conquered lands. Large estates spread across the countryside, while small farmers, once the backbone of the Republic and its armies, lost their land. Many drifted into the city, where unrest and dependence on state aid grew. At the same time, Rome's wars became longer and farther from home. Soldiers spent years away from their farms, returning to debt and displacement. Their loyalty shifted away from distant political institutions and toward the generals who paid them and promised land. Victories on the battlefield now carried consequences at home. As commanders gained personal armies and political influence, the balance of power collapsed. When soldiers began following men instead of laws, the Republic started to break. As the Republic weakened, ambition filled the vacuum. Powerful generals no longer waited for approval, they used their armies to seize authority. Marching on Rome, once unthinkable, became a tool of power. Military force replaced debate, and loyalty to the state gave way to loyalty to commanders. Violence became routine. Political rivals were attacked, exiled, or killed, and fear replaced compromise. Emergency powers were extended again and again, concentrating authority in fewer hands. What had once been temporary slowly became permanent. Rome's leaders justified these changes as necessary to restore order. The people, exhausted by chaos, accepted stronger rule in exchange for peace. In doing so, Rome traded shared power for stability. The Republic had endured for centuries, but it could not survive the consequences of its own success. With the Republic gone, Rome reached the height of its power as an empire. Its authority stretched across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, linking distant peoples under a single political system. Rome imposed order through administration rather than constant force. A vast network of roads allowed armies, officials, and merchants to move with speed. Laws were standardized, taxes collected, and provinces governed with remarkable consistency. Trade crossed continents, enriching cities far from the capital. Rome ruled not only through soldiers, but through cooperation. Citizenship expanded, binding more people to the empire's fate. Local elites enforced Roman law and maintained order. For many, Roman rule brought stability where chaos once ruled. At its peak, Rome did more than conquer territory, it organized the world. Rome's success masked growing strain. Governing such a vast empire required enormous resources, and the cost of defense never stopped rising. Frontiers had to be guarded constantly, and wars consumed men and money at a relentless pace. To meet these demands, the state weakened its economy. Coinage was reduced to pay soldiers, driving inflation and eroding trust. Taxes increased, burdening farmers and towns already stretched thin. What once fueled growth now sustained survival. Political stability also faltered. Emperors rose and fell quickly, many installed by the army and removed the same way. Authority depended less on competence and more on military backing. Beneath the surface, the system was cracking. By the 4th and 5th centuries, Rome faced mounting pressure along borders stretching thousands of miles. Defending them required manpower the empire no longer had. Entire communities moved toward Roman territory, driven by conflict beyond the frontiers. Rome relied increasingly on non-Roman soldiers. Many served loyally, but their allegiance was often personal, not institutional. Expansion stopped, defense became the priority, and even that proved difficult. As pressure mounted, Rome turned to division as a final strategy. The empire split into eastern and western halves, each with its own ruler and army. Both claimed to represent Rome. The east was wealthier and more stable. The west struggled with shrinking cities, weak leadership, and constant crisis. Authority faded beyond recovery. Rome did not vanish at once. It fractured, surviving in the east while the west fell apart. Rome rose through discipline, organization, and expansion. At its height, it unified vast territories through law and infrastructure. Its decline came from overextension, instability, and the cost of maintaining power. Yet Rome never truly disappeared. Its laws, language, and ideas endured. Rome didn't fall in a moment. It changed the world by failing to hold it together.